Have you ever felt that there's a hidden potential inside you, something waiting to be unlocked? Perhaps you've noticed moments where you see the world differently, when you ask questions others don't, or when you adapt seamlessly to situations that leave others stuck. These aren't random quirks. They could be signs of something extraordinary. Intelligence shaped by resilience, curiosity, and emotional mastery. In today's video, we'll explore the 7 subtle signs of brilliance, rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. You'll discover how insatiable curiosity drives growth, why adaptability is your greatest asset, and how emotional intelligence and critical thinking elevate your mind. Stick around, because the last sign might reveal the secret that ties them all together, and how you can start applying it today. If this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official. Let's dive into your untapped potential together. Number 1. Insatiable curiosity. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself lost in thought, questioning why the world works the way it does? Maybe it's not just about big mysteries like the universe, but the little things. How does Wi-Fi really work? Or why does your coffee taste better on certain mornings? That itch to know, to dig deeper, is what we call curiosity. But it's not just a fleeting interest. When you nurture it, curiosity becomes a driving force behind intelligence and personal growth. Stoic philosophy teaches us to embrace the unknown and question what we take for granted. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, once wrote that we should observe constantly that all things take place by change. Curiosity is the tool that helps us see that change clearly and learn from it. It's not just about collecting facts. It's about understanding how everything fits together and how it shapes our journey. Take a moment to think about your daily life. Are you asking enough questions? Why does your neighbor act a certain way? Why does your job feel fulfilling some days but exhausting on others? Curiosity helps us connect the dots, not only in the world around us, but also within ourselves. It's like having a mental treasure map where every question leads to a new piece of wisdom. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Curiosity isn't just about seeking answers. It's about learning from others. In every conversation you have, there's an opportunity to grow. The Stoics believed in learning from all experiences, good or bad. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, famously said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." When we ask questions, we admit that we don't know everything, and that humility unlocks the door to greater knowledge. Imagine someone who's genuinely curious. They're the kind of people who listen more than they talk, who ask insightful questions, and who always seem to have a fresh perspective. That's not luck or talent, it's a mindset. The good news is anyone can develop it. Curiosity is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. If you're wondering how to practice curiosity, start small. Every day, try to learn one new thing. It doesn't have to be life-changing. Maybe it's a new word, a historical fact, or how to fix something in your home. Small steps add up, and over time, you'll find yourself asking bigger questions, the kind that challenges your assumptions and pushes you to grow. And don't forget to reflect on what you learn. The Stoics often kept journals, writing down their thoughts and questions. This practice helps turn curiosity into wisdom. When you take time to think about what you've discovered, you begin to see patterns and deeper truths. So, next time you feel that itch of curiosity, don't ignore it. Follow it. Ask why, how, and what if. Because as Leonardo da Vinci said, learning never exhausts the mind. And when your curiosity guides you, it just might lead you to a life of unshakable wisdom. Number 2. Adaptability. Let's continue. If curiosity opens the door to knowledge, adaptability is what allows you to walk through it and thrive no matter what you find on the other side. Think about it. Life is full of change. Unexpected events, shifting circumstances, and challenges you never saw coming. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They taught us to embrace what we cannot control and find strength in flexibility. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Adaptability isn't just about surviving change. It's about using it as a tool to grow stronger. Picture yourself standing in the middle of a storm. You could resist it, digging your heels in, trying to stop the wind. Or you could be like water, flowing around obstacles, finding new paths, and shaping yourself to the moment. Adaptability is that flow. It's the ability to adjust your mindset, your behavior, and your approach to fit the situation at hand. In today's world, adaptability is more crucial than ever. Things change faster than we can predict. Jobs evolve, technologies advance, and relationships shift. If you cling to old ways of thinking, you risk being left behind. But when you adapt, you position yourself to navigate uncertainty with confidence. It's not about abandoning your values or principles. It's about applying them in new ways. Consider this. Adaptability isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It begins with acceptance. The Stoics remind us that fighting reality is a waste of energy. Instead, align yourself with nature, as Epictetus advised. Accept what is and focus on what you can control. Your reactions, your choices, and your perspective. When you do this, you create space for growth, even in the toughest situations. Take, for example, a time when life didn't go as planned. Maybe you lost a job, faced a health crisis, or found yourself in an unexpected conflict. In those moments, it's easy to feel stuck or overwhelmed. But adaptability invites you to look at these events differently. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, view them as stepping stones. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to move forward? The beauty of adaptability is that it builds resilience. Every time you adjust to a challenge, you grow stronger for the next one. It's like training your mind to stay flexible under pressure. And this doesn't just benefit you, it inspires those around you. When people see someone who can adapt without losing their core values, they see strength in action. To practice adaptability, start with small shifts. When plans change, instead of feeling frustrated, ask how you can make the best of the new circumstances. Embrace the unexpected, even if it's uncomfortable. Remember, discomfort is temporary, but growth is lasting. As Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. By choosing adaptability, you're choosing to thrive, not just survive. Life will always throw curveballs, but with adaptability, you're ready to hit them out of the park. Number 3. Simplification and creativity. If adaptability is the key to navigating change, simplification and creativity are the tools that make the journey smoother. Life often feels overwhelming, with complexities piling up and distractions pulling us in every direction. But the Stoics knew that wisdom lies in stripping away the unnecessary and focusing on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less." It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things and doing them well. Simplification starts with clarity. When you're faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what's essential here? Often the noise around a problem is what makes it seem unmanageable. By breaking it down into its simplest form, you regain control. Think of it like untangling a knot. The more you pull at random, the worse it gets. But when you pause and focus, you can find the threads that matter and work through them one by one. This mindset isn't just practical, it's deeply creative. When you simplify, you open space for innovation. Creativity doesn't always mean grand, artistic gestures. It's about finding fresh solutions in everyday situations. For example, imagine you're working on a project that feels stuck. Instead of pushing harder in the same direction, step back and ask, what's another way to look at this? The answer might come from simplifying your approach, cutting out unnecessary steps, or reimagining the resources you already have. The Stoics practiced this kind of creativity in their philosophy. They took complex ideas about life, fate, and human behavior and boiled them down to timeless principles anyone could apply. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." That's both a simple truth and a profound strategy for dealing with life's unpredictability. Creativity through simplification also helps in relationships. Have you ever had a conflict that spiraled because both sides were caught up in minor details? Simplify the issue by asking, what's the core problem here? What really matters to both of us? When you do this, you often find that a creative solution is within reach, one that respects both perspectives without unnecessary complications. In our fast-paced world, the ability to simplify and think creatively is more valuable than ever. Technology and information can overwhelm us if we let them. But when you practice simplification, you reclaim your focus. You also give your brain the room it needs to connect ideas in new and unexpected ways. It's in those moments of clarity that true creativity emerges. So how can you start simplifying? Begin by examining your priorities. Are you spending your time on what truly matters? If not, let go of the rest. Then look for opportunities to be resourceful. Can you solve a problem with what you already have, rather than chasing something new? These practices not only make life more manageable, but also unlock your creative potential. Remember, simplicity is not about cutting corners. It's about finding elegance in efficiency. Creativity doesn't require more. It thrives on less. When you combine the two, you create a life of balance, focus, and inspired action. As Leonardo da Vinci once said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Let that guide you in everything you do. Number 4. Self-awareness, humility, and emotional intelligence. If simplification and creativity give you clarity in solving problems, self-awareness and humility teach you to navigate relationships with yourself and others. These qualities are like a compass, keeping you steady as you face life's storms. The Stoics believed that knowing yourself is the foundation of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on his actions, writing, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good." This practice of self-awareness isn't just about understanding your strengths, it's also about recognizing your weaknesses and blind spots. Humility, as the Stoics saw it, isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about understanding your place in the bigger picture. Life isn't always about being right or standing out. Sometimes it's about stepping back, listening, and learning. This requires emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage your emotions while also tuning in to the emotions of others. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And part of bravery is the courage to be honest with yourself. Think about a time when you felt defensive in a conversation. Maybe someone pointed out a mistake you made, and your first instinct was to justify or shift blame. That reaction, while natural, often blocks growth. Emotional intelligence invites you to pause and ask, why am I reacting this way? What can I learn from this? When you respond instead of reacting, you take control of your emotions instead of letting them control you. Self-awareness also helps you understand the emotions of others. The Stoics emphasized compassion and empathy, not as signs of weakness, but as strengths. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing with everyone. It means recognizing their perspective, even if it differs from yours. Imagine being in a heated argument. Emotional intelligence allows you to step back, look at the situation from the other person's point of view, and respond thoughtfully instead of escalating the conflict. These skills are especially valuable in leadership. Whether you're leading a team, a family, or even just yourself, emotional intelligence helps you build trust and connection. People gravitate toward those who can remain calm under pressure, communicate clearly, and treat others with respect. And these aren't talents you're born with, they're skills you can develop through practice. Start by making time for reflection. Like the Stoics, write down your thoughts at the end of the day. What went well? What could have been handled better? Over time, this habit will deepen your self-awareness. Next, practice listening, not just to respond, but to truly understand. When someone shares their feelings or ideas, resist the urge to interrupt or judge. Ask questions instead. You'll be surprised how much people appreciate being heard. Finally, remember that humility doesn't diminish your value. It enhances it. When you acknowledge your flaws, you open the door to growth. And when you approach others with empathy, you create connections that are both meaningful and lasting. By cultivating self-awareness, humility, and emotional intelligence, you align yourself with the Stoic ideal of a balanced, virtuous life. You become not only a better thinker, but a better human being. In a world full of noise and distractions, these traits set you apart as someone who truly understands the art of living. Number 5. Critical thinking, building on self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Critical thinking takes everything you've learned so far and sharpens it into a tool for clarity. It's the ability to question what you see, hear, and even think without being swayed by emotions or assumptions. The Stoics called this suspension of judgment, or epoche, pausing before accepting something as true. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Critical thinking begins with curiosity, but it doesn't stop there. It's about digging deeper, examining the evidence, and asking tough questions. Imagine being presented with a piece of news that seems shocking. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause and ask, is this true? What's the source? What might I be missing here? This process doesn't just make you smarter, it makes you wiser. You learn to see things as they are, not as they seem at first glance. In practice, critical thinking is like untangling a knot. It requires patience and persistence. Let's say you're facing a decision at work, perhaps about taking on a new project. At first, it might seem like a clear yes or no, but when you dig deeper, you might uncover hidden variables, the time required, the team dynamics, or how this decision aligns with your long-term goals. By examining these factors critically, you make choices that are not only thoughtful, but also aligned with your values. The Stoics emphasized this clarity of thought because it leads to better action. Seneca said, "The mind that is anxious about future events is troubled by present worries." Critical thinking helps you focus on what matters now, without being paralyzed by what-ifs or overwhelmed by uncertainty. It's about taking control of your thoughts instead of letting them control you. But let's be honest, critical thinking isn't always easy. It requires humility, admitting you don't know everything, and courage to challenge your own beliefs. Imagine having a deeply held opinion and then encountering evidence that contradicts it. The easy path is to dismiss the evidence and cling to your original view. The harder, more rewarding path is to question yourself. What if I'm wrong? What can I learn from this perspective? This willingness to change your mind isn't a weakness, it's a strength. So how do you practice critical thinking? Start by questioning your assumptions. When you catch yourself thinking, "This must be true," ask why. Break down your thoughts into smaller pieces and evaluate each one. Next, play devil's advocate with your ideas. Pretend you're arguing against yourself and see if your reasoning holds up. This exercise not only sharpens your mind, but also makes your arguments stronger. Finally, be mindful of the information you consume. The Stoics believed in filtering out what doesn't serve you. If something stirs unnecessary anger or anxiety, question its value. Is it helping you think more clearly or clouding your judgment? Critical thinking is a practice, not a destination. It's something you refine over time with effort and intention. And when you combine it with the other traits we've discussed, curiosity, adaptability, emotional intelligence, you create a foundation for a life of wisdom, clarity, and purpose. In a noisy, fast-paced world, that's a rare and powerful thing. Number 6, growth through failure. If critical thinking sharpens your mind, then failure teaches you to wield it with wisdom. Failure isn't something to avoid, it's a teacher, one that the Stoics embraced wholeheartedly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, every obstacle, every failure, is an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Think about the last time you failed. Maybe it was a project at work, a relationship that ended, or even a personal goal you couldn't reach. Failure stings, doesn't it? But it also strips away the unnecessary, leaving behind the raw truth. And in that truth lies growth. When you look at failure not as an end, but as a lesson, it transforms from something painful into something powerful. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that failure reveals your character. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Facing failure forces you to confront your weaknesses and understand your limits. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about asking, what can I learn from this? How can I do better next time? Let's consider an example. Imagine a man who loses his job unexpectedly. At first, the loss feels like a crushing blow. But instead of giving in to despair, he reflects on what went wrong. Maybe his skills didn't align with the company's needs, or perhaps he didn't adapt to changes quickly enough. Instead of viewing this as the end of his career, he takes the lesson, retools his skills, and finds a new path, one that's even more fulfilling than before. This is the essence of growth through failure. Using setbacks as a springboard for success. It's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about learning from them. Think of failure like a chisel, shaping you into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. The Stoics also teach us to separate what's within our control from what's not. Failure often feels personal, but much of it comes from factors beyond our influence: market changes, other people's actions, or sheer bad luck. When you focus on what you can control, your response, your attitude, and your next steps, you regain your power. So how can you embrace failure? Start by reframing it. Instead of thinking, "I failed," say, "I learned." Write down what went wrong and what you'll do differently next time. This isn't just about optimism, it's about taking ownership of your growth. Next, celebrate small victories along the way. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're moving in the right direction. Finally, remember that failure is universal. Even the most successful people, those we admire for their intelligence and resilience, have failed countless times. Albert Einstein, for instance, once said, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." Failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. In embracing failure, you're not just enduring it, you're transforming it into a tool for self-improvement. When you face challenges with this mindset, you align with the Stoic principle that every obstacle carries the seed of its own solution. And in that, you find not just growth, but strength and wisdom that lasts a lifetime. Number 7. Sensitivity to details others miss. As we reflect on growth through failure, another vital trait begins to emerge: the ability to notice what others overlook. Sensitivity to details may seem small, but it often separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The Stoics, in their pursuit of wisdom, understood the value of observation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Pay attention to what's happening around you. Pay attention to what isn't said." In those quiet, unnoticed moments lie the clues to deeper understanding. Life is full of details waiting to be uncovered. Think about a conversation you've had recently. Did you notice the way someone's tone shifted when a particular subject came up? Or perhaps the way their body language changed when they felt uncomfortable? These subtle signals often carry more truth than the words themselves. When you train yourself to notice these details, you unlock a level of perception that allows you to connect with people more deeply and act more wisely. This sensitivity to details isn't just about interpersonal relationships. It applies to every aspect of life. Imagine you're solving a problem at work. While others focus on the obvious, you take a step back and examine the small factors that could be influencing the outcome. Maybe it's an overlooked process, a minor inefficiency, or even a pattern in data that everyone else ignored. By paying attention, you often discover solutions that others miss entirely. The Stoics encourage this practice of mindful observation, not just in others but also in ourselves. Seneca advised, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." To notice what's truly happening, you must quiet your mind and observe without judgment. This ability helps you discern the root cause of your emotions, your actions, and the challenges you face. For example, if you're feeling stressed, a closer look might reveal it's not the workload, but your own expectations creating the pressure. Being detail-oriented also fosters creativity. Consider an artist painting a landscape. They don't just see trees and mountains, they notice the way light dances on water or the subtle shift of color in the sky. Similarly, in life, the ability to notice small details can lead to innovative solutions and fresh perspectives. This is especially true in a fast-paced world where people often rush to conclusions without examining the nuances. You might wonder, how can you develop this sensitivity? Start by slowing down. When you're in a conversation, focus entirely on the other person. Listen not just to their words, but to their pauses, their tone, and their expressions. When tackling a task, ask yourself, what am I missing here? Is there something small that could make a big difference? Journaling can also help, as it forces you to reflect on the day and notice patterns or details you might have overlooked. The beauty of this trait is that it builds on the other qualities we've discussed. Curiosity drives you to explore, adaptability helps you adjust, and emotional intelligence allows you to connect. Sensitivity to detail ties them together, enabling you to act with precision and insight. In the end, noticing what others miss isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It's about being present, attentive, and open to the world around you. The Stoics remind us that wisdom often hides in plain sight. When you cultivate this sensitivity, you don't just see the world more clearly, you engage with it on a deeper, more meaningful level. And that, perhaps, is one of the greatest signs of intelligence. As we close, remember that intelligence isn't just about knowledge. It's about growth, adaptability, and how you engage with the world. From cultivating insatiable curiosity to mastering emotional intelligence, each trait we've explored today reflects the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." By practicing self-awareness, critical thinking, and sensitivity to detail, you're not just sharpening your mind, you're enriching your life. Now, it's your turn. Which of these traits resonates most with you? Take a moment to reflect and begin applying these principles today. Whether it's embracing failure or noticing the small details others miss, every step you take is a step toward wisdom. If this video added value to your journey, please give it a like and share it with someone who could benefit from these insights. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official and click the bell to join us in mastering the art of living. Until next time, stay curious and stay resilient.